You talk about like the bridge between crypto and TradFi, and I guess that whole question of if crypto is the future, if crypto is the next wave of innovation within financial services, does something have to make way? Like, are there parts of finance that are going to be replaced by like digital assets and I guess the technology behind it, in your mind?
Look, absolutely, in a one-word answer. In a more structured kind of response to that, what I would say is that traditional finance is very siloed. Whole lot of reasons for that. It absolutely is that a lot of players in that space are protecting their turf. They don't want the profits that they've been making to be exposed. They don't want to give some of that away to a new age and a new technology that is just going to break all of that down and create a whole lot of new markets. That's number one. To be somewhat sympathetic to the industry, a lot of it's built on legacy systems, which are really, really hard and complex to change. But hey, that's their problem to solve for. The exciting thing for us is that we are new age, we are tech, and we are building really savvy systems that have great user experiences. We're able to break down those user silos. We're able to be more transparent, and we are able to start to blend traditional finance with digital finance. And I guess that's something I'm particularly excited about, Tommy. We've had lots of conversations around that. A lot further to go, but yeah, absolutely. I think, now is the time for people to be getting into the industry. Now is the time for people to be finding players that they're comfortable with, because if not, they're going to be left with legacy financial services players that are not going to be able to offer them, the best opportunities to get ahead.
What are you kind of most excited about in terms of like projects or particular sectors of the industry that are growing or, have the most amount of opportunity in your eyes?
And I think that's important to say, what am I most excited about? Because there are lots of areas that I'm excited about.
That's right.
While I think it will still take time, I'm most excited about the tokenization of real-world assets. We already have essentially tokenization of securities and equities. I mean, if you put it in the most simple terms, that's what it is. You can have a little piece of a big company. But with real-world assets, to have a little piece of infrastructure or something like that is much more difficult to do a lot of times. So I think in this day and age when we have cost of living issues that we're dealing with, housing issues, big infrastructure issues around energy and transition to green energy and those sorts of things, that tokenization of real world assets, giving individuals the opportunity to buy pieces of all of these projects is what I'm most excited about, that I can sort of see coming.
I was on a panel about real world assets about 6 months ago, and we were talking about, fractional ownership of a house as an example. We're all well aware, people in Australia, of the issues with housing and the barriers to entry and the steep vertical that people have to climb now to try and save deposits for houses and everything else. And somebody made the comment from the crowd, it was like, who's going to live in the house? And I thought it was brilliant because I actually didn't know the answer at the time. It's like, I'm assuming it's a majority owner that has rights, but I guess all these kind of things still need to be worked out. But it's the fact that you can get on that property ladder with, very small amount of capital essentially versus what we have today. And that's just one example
and look, we could really talk into that in a lot of examples. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that the people will do it. I think the fractionalization or the tokenization may very well lend itself to shared community assets. It may very well lend itself to rental properties in the example of the house, that we can have a tokenization of multiple rental properties that are put into a rental pool, and we may still not tokenize our own principal place of residence and things like that. But to your point, Tommy, absolutely. And that's what sort of keeps me so excited. It's one of the things that gets me out of bed in the morning, as well as the fantastic team that we've got here at Swyftx. But it is certainly the opportunity to be participating in this thought leadership and evolving and being part of something that is actually going to change the way people live moving forward. We don't have all the answers yet.
It feels like an extension of like the share economy of what Uber started and Airbnb started and these things. It's like, I can be living in a house that is owned by 10 people as an example. I think that's a lot closer than what we think today.
The biggest transportation company of people in the world doesn't own any cars. Uber. Yeah. The biggest hotel or overnight accommodation company in the world doesn't own the properties, being Airbnb. This is a real mind shift. it's been around now for 10 to 15 years. But, what else could be done? What else are we going to see? And what I say to people, and it's been my philosophy for investing in my life, if you want to understand an asset class, and if you want to understand something, go and put some of your money there. Yeah. You're not going to put it all there probably, but you want to put some of it there. You want to put some and you want to participate. Don't try and sit on the sidelines and think you either understand an industry or don't. Put some money in there, go and actively participate and start experimenting to the level that you're comfortable with.
Learn by doing.
Learn by doing.
Yeah.
And you will actually see the opportunities. It was like people that have wanted to trade in the past in carbon credits and things like that. You can't sit on the sideline and learn this stuff.
Yeah.
You've actually got to be participating.
Yeah.
And I think that is why you're seeing so many Gen Y and millennials participating in crypto and the digital assets. They get this stuff. It's been the Gen Xers, baby boomers and others that have been, frankly, too conservative, and they haven't been prepared to step outside their comfort zone. They've only wanted to kind of, know what they know, and it's held them back. Yep. In getting ahead financially, quite frankly.
Just on that note, like portfolio diversification, like you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, whether it's, stocks, real estate, crypto, but you do want to diversify into multiple asset classes, right? Because it gives you more of a spread across all those commodities and assets. So
look, as the CEO of Swyftx, I would love every Australian to have some crypto on our platform.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want all of their portfolio invested in crypto.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what I would say.
Absolutely.
And I would want them to think about tried and tested rules such as DCA, so the dollar cost averaging of investing and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Think about that. Educate yourself. I mean, Swyftx has done a lot of work on education. One of the biggest frustration things at the moment is in a market where we haven't yet been able to get government regulation, where we've got 20% of the population already invested and another 20% saying they want to invest pretty soon, trying to get that financial planning advice. But, there are some great people coming out there, though, on the influencer space and some of those affiliates that really are understanding this asset class, and they're putting some genuine advice and giving people some genuine, thoughts around the area. So, yeah, there's lots of different options to educate yourself.
Yeah, wonderful. So we've heard about the industry now. We want to dive into Swyftx. You are at the driver's seat of the Swyftx ship. So we want to try and uncover some insights that you have behind the scenes, uncovering, because there's 800,000 users at Swyftx now. So that is a huge data pool of, particular bits of information that you can give us, potentially something that our listeners can take away, because, a lot of our listeners are Swyftx users as well. So something they might find interesting as well. First of all, what are people mostly trading right now? Are they more, are they diving into the altcoins because it's, high risk, high reward, or are they more sticking to the blue chips, your Bitcoin, Ethereum, even like stable coins and things like that? What's that sort of looking like?
We haven't yet seen the market really hit its straps in terms of another bull market yet. We certainly see some different segments of our customer base investing across different areas. There's some altcoins that are bubbling away. There are definitely some gems out there. There are some that have been pretty strong for a while. We've seen Solana go on a big run. We've seen Sui go on a big run. In terms of the BTC and the ETH, well, I think there's been some disappointment in ETH for a while there, but BTC has really been coming strong. So look, there's a lot more people at the moment still floating around in the longer held and the traditional tokens that we've got.
The blue, apparently we're calling them blue chips now.
The blue chips.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
We've broken we've broken the barrier into traditional finance
and people are now
terminology.
calling them blue chips.
That's right.
So there are definitely a lot more people at the moment. But I'm certainly starting to see, and we're seeing across the platform now, that people are starting to see some of these altcoins that are bubbling up, and they're getting a bit excited because they kind of are waiting for this altcoin season to come back. So people are positioning their portfolios, we think.